Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Hello and welcome to Real Life, Real Faith. I am joined as always by Bri and Pastor Far, and we are very, very pleased to have you guys with us. And today, it's a little bit of a heavy topic, but that's okay. We're talking about help, I'm depressed. Now, this is a topic that is a difficult one to face in church world. I call it church world because there's so much shame attached to it. And I know this, in a personal capacity and just watching other people throughout my life suffering. And so the story that I'm going to read you real quick is out of 1 Kings 19 from verse 3. Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there while he himself went a day's journey into the desert. He came to a broom tree, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life, I am no better than my ancestors. Then he lay down under the tree and fell asleep. All at once an angel touched him and said, Get up and eat. He looked around and there was by his head a cake of bread baked over hot coals and a jar of water. He ate and drank and then lay down again. The angel of the Lord came back a second time and touched him and said, Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you. So he got up and ate and drank. Strengthened by that food, he traveled 40 days and 40 nights until he reached Horeb, the mountain of God. Then he went into a cave and spent the night. And that ends at verse 9. Now, the reason that I've always loved this account so much is because as somebody who has always been called intense my entire life, I'm pretty extreme, everything I do is with extremes, kind of has always been that way. This account has helped me so much from when I was young, because so often we read these scriptures and we read these different accounts of these different great men and women of God, and you think, wow, they seem pretty perfect. And I kind of enjoy this because Elijah had just had this crazy victory, crazy victory on Mount Carmel. Killed 850 prophets that were serving Baal and Ashtoreth or Asherah, whichever translation you read. And after that, Jezebel said to him, I'm going to kill you. And he got really scared. And then he was like, God, I want to die. I'm done. And the fact that this prophet who just had one of the greatest victories in Israel's history, after that incredible mountaintop experience, and we use it often, to talk about what happens after a mountaintop experience. But the reality is this, if you're to read this from a psychological perspective, this is reading as someone who's depressed. They're struggling with some form of depression. Not only depression, he wanted to die.
Suicidal.
He was suicidal in a sense. He wanted to die. And I just look at that and go, if Elijah struggled with something like that and still went on to fulfill his purpose, and God was able to use him to do so many things after that, it gives hope to people that are struggling. And I know that this is a difficult topic. Again, I'm probably oversharing here. Sometimes I think I'm oversharing. I don't know.
That's good.
Okay, Bri says it's good, so it's fine. But I'm somebody who showed signs of depression from a very young age. When the other kids were playing, I was sitting there at the age of 3 and I asked my mom what the point of life was. I said, why are we here? What is the point? And this poor woman, I'm sitting there going, what is the reason for all of this? Looking around and I'd say, there's so many people in pain. What is the point? And I've always been like that. And it's something that I've genuinely struggled with my entire life. And I cover it with humor. People that don't know me wouldn't know that I've struggled with depression. And it's not something, it's probably the first time I'm actually saying it out loud, this openly and publicly on camera, is yes, I've been diagnosed with depression. And there've been times in my life where I was on medication, and if I hadn't have been, I don't know what would have happened. And I know that there's a line here to juggle, which is what I want to probably talk about, is I think so often, again, in church world, it's you just need to pray it away. And yes, there's merit to that. We have to pray. We have to trust God. We have to trust for transformation. But some people biologically struggle with this. And I feel like there should be space and room to at least talk about it and not to feel so much shame that you don't feel like you have the space to try and get help. What do you think?
I agree with that.
because so many times, regardless of wherever you are in life, if you're in, I don't know, the corporate America, corporate world, if you are in leadership, in ministry, if you're a parent, you feel like you do not have the opportunity, the time, or the grace cushion to admit you are depressed. Because as a parent, you still have to get up every day, you still have to care for your kids. You don't have time to lay underneath a tree. And you just don't. In ministry, it's almost like, well, if I'm depressed, how can I help people who are? If, you're in corporate world, well, if I'm out, I'm replaceable like that. I have no opportunity to be down. And so much so that we don't realize that we are slowly depleting ourselves from even an opportunity to catch up with help. So by the time that, I think I need help, we have nothing. We have no energy, no strength to even commit ourselves to doing the work and getting help. So I would say you need to get help. And that you say get help and people are like, I don't need help. I don't need to go to the hospital. I don't need to, that's not what, some people, they really need that type of help, but help is just going to coffee with another human being and seeing the world, not isolating yourself. We say that so much on this show, do not isolate yourself. You need to do it before it gets bad. That's what I would say.
I think that's an excellent point. Do it, get the help before it gets bad.
Well, thank God you had, for medication, all medicine has side effects, so I'm not big on it, but it saves our lives a lot. And especially, my wife, after 23 years, just got off of antidepressant anxiety medication because they were concerned. Her liver enzymes were up, a little bit. So we kind of dug around and found out that the medication for some can cause elevated liver enzymes. So we're still trying to work through that. But she just thought, I'm the kind of person, she's the type A, obviously. We marry opposites. Everyone knows I'm very sleepy. So anyway, but she said, I will never, as soon as the medication kicked in, she wanted to get on the back of my motorcycle, which she didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I never pushed her ever. You don't do that. But it was like she had no fear. She was ready to go. And she said, I'm going to take this medicine for the rest of my life. Well, the doctor told her, he obviously didn't know my wife very well, but he said, okay, we're going to figure out this liver enzyme situation. So you're going to go off your medicine completely. And I'm sitting in there and I'm going, that's it? You're just going to tell her to go off completely? Well, anyway, she's been off it. She's had some ups and downs, but she's doing well. But anyway, medication is good. My daughter, not Rena, but Danielle, just got off her medication as well. They're just really, they're needing to do this, but Charlene may go back. We'll see. You just have to do what you have to do. But it's interesting, you were reading that, Christy, that he went to sleep and then the angel said, eat. Then he immediately went back to sleep and the angel said, eat again. So to me, our bodies affect our minds. Everyone knows, it's been said a million times, he was tired, exhausted. I can't imagine, like you said, one of the greatest miracles in Israel's history. I mean, he single-handedly did what he did. Can you imagine what was going through his body and then what left him, And plus you hear people say, and I don't think it's theatrical, the anointing can wear you out, and it can, I mean, when you're ministering, it can take a toll on your body. But anyway, I just found it fascinating. So the body affects the mind. It's all tied together. And then lastly, food affects, they'll tell you, don't eat this, you'll get a heart attack. Well, food also affects your mind. So I'm not saying that's the case here necessarily, but a lot of people are just born the way you come off the way I was born. I wish, I could change a lot of things and I can work on a lot of things, but some people maybe are born maybe a little bit more heavy-hearted or more joyful, but just take what God has given you. He'll help you improve. And there was one more thing I wanted to say there, but anyway, I'll just let it pass and see if it comes back up.
If it comes back, please just jump right in. But I think what you're saying too is so important. We look at this account specifically with Elijah, and I do think that there's so much to it because he needed sleep, he needed food, and he needed water. And I don't think we do ourselves any favors so often by the way we're eating, by the way we're living, and that's something I'm facing myself right now. I'm really focusing on health this year. I've been watching a lot of Dr. Andrew Huberman. He's a neuroscientist, and he speaks about, the way we're living and how dopamine centers in our brains.
Yeah.
People think that dopamine is happiness, but it's not, it's motivation. And so often I think that's what depression feels like, is it's just like, it can feel like you're trying to swim through a pit of mud. And that's how it can feel in your brain. And I can't deny the fact that when I'm exercising, getting correct sleep and eating the things I should, it helps me. I'm not saying it takes it away completely. Some of it is circumstantial, some of it is situational, but that feeling of heaviness, and if you've struggled with this, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, let me encourage you to extend compassion to people around you who might be struggling. There's the way that I was brought up, in the church that I was in, there was such a high emphasis on you just push through everything and you don't talk about these problems because you don't want to confess anything negative and you just have to charge ahead no matter what. And there is merit to that, obviously, but at the same time, a lot of people slip through the cracks. And those are the people that my heart really goes out to, because I know what it is to feel that way and look around you and realize you might be one of the only ones feeling that way, and then you feel guilt, and then you feel shame, and then you feel all these things on top of what you're already struggling with. But I also think there's some practical things we can do. Like the question I was asking is, what do we do when we're in a pit of depression? We know that the spirit of praise, put on the garment of praise for a spirit of heaviness. We can praise. That's something practical we can do from a spiritual perspective. We can find scriptures on joy and meditate on those. But we can also do things that are going to help us. Watching Dr. Huberman, I've started on some mornings doing ice bathing, which I loathe and abhor.
Oh, wow.
It's awful, but it works.
Everyone's talking about that.
Yeah, it resets your whole...
It resets, it gives you this crazy spike, because dopamine, the way that it works in your brain is as soon as there's a dip in it, your brain rushes to push it to make it, your brain wants to be at equilibrium. It wants to be in a place of being as stable as possible. So when you ice bath, it is horrific. Let me just...
My wife said you will never...
It's horrific, Pastor
You will never get me to do that.
It is a terrible thing. But I've done it, and I fill my bathtub, and then I go empty out the freezer full of ice, and I drop it in, and then I'm like...
Oh, my gosh.
Tell Google to set a timer, and I get in, and it's awful. But I can't deny that I've seen it make an improvement in my brain, and it's worse in winter because the water's already cold, and then you add ice to it, and then you see these people you do slow cold exposure, but I can't deny it. And so what I've said to myself this year is, with the spiritual stuff I'm doing and have been doing pretty much my whole life, I'm really trying to focus on doing everything I can to help myself.
To take care of your temple.
To take care of my temple. We do neglect that.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about this before.
Because we're so busy.
We're so busy. And we also spoke about it. Eating was one of the only things we were allowed to do.
Exactly. And it wasn't eating carrot sticks.
No, ma'am.
It was after church late when there was only a very small
apple fritters
amount of stuff that was open.
Yes.
And it was normally stuff that wasn't healthy for you.
Yeah.
And you were in the spirit for 4 hours, but then you get out.
Actually,
and you treat your temple horribly.
Yeah.
What I was reading, what I was going to say was, people that are highly intelligent, have a high IQ, majority of them, and probably if you study all these guys, you'll see they have suffered with depression because they're just so aware, And so, I mean, it's just part of what we have to fight in this world while we're here. But sometimes I wish it could just be taken away from us, whatever it is that we struggle with. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, God, I know there's grace. I mean, you're still here, so it's obvious that there is grace. And it's all of us. I mean, we certainly have all had to deal with depression, one form or another. But anyway, God gives grace. I know that He does.
And what you're saying too, there's a scripture, I cannot remember the reference right now, but it says, with much knowledge comes much sorrow. With an increase of wisdom comes grief.
Yeah, that proves that point, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And it opens a window to a whole nother.
It does, because, and I was always that person that was thinking, I say it all the time, chronic overthinker. I would think about everything. I analyze everything. I want to do the right thing. What does that mean? I look at it from every angle. And I've had to try and see that not as a curse, but as a blessing.
Yes, and use it.
Yes, because then when I'm reading the Word, I think about it in those terms as well. And then it's like, okay, there's room for some revelation here. And, maybe I'll be able to say something that helps somebody, as opposed to just always thinking, why is my brain like this? But for anybody who might be struggling, who might feel like you're in a pit of depression, let me encourage you not to give up. It is hard. Pain is relative. Then sometimes we play the comparison game. We look around and say, that guy's got a much worse life than me. Why do I feel this terrible? But let me encourage you. Do it. I don't know. Sometimes I just put Kim's music on and I screech my heart out.
Cry.
Yes.
Cry.
Yeah. Crying is okay.
Let it out.
Yeah.
Like, don't bottle it up. Don't bury it under the rug either.
Yeah,
and
that's
I feel
true.
like that's a huge thing that people do, is they mask it and they laugh. I saw something on social that said a lot of the comedians were the ones who struggled the most with mental health and depression and suicide. And they were the givers of joy.
Yes.
They were the ones who always cracked a joke and covered everything with humor.
Yes, ma'am.
And all that stuff.
Crazy,
and always
isn't it?
did that. And it's crazy how opposite that can be. The ones who struggle the most with joy or true happiness, sustaining true joy, I should say, they're the ones who struggle the most.
Yeah.
It's like, don't mask it. Don't mask it. Let it out. Cry. It is okay to cry. It's not weak to cry. I don't care if you're a man.
Yeah.
I don't care. Let it out.
Yeah. So true.
It's so healthy. And take an ice bath.
Go watch Dr. Andrew Huberman on dopamine.
Seriously.
You'll get a kick out of that one.
Yeah.
But really, there's so much power that God's given us within ourselves with the way He designed our bodies.
Yeah.
But we have to treat them right. And I'm saying that to you, being very open on my journey. Hopefully, by the end of this year, you're going to see a lot of pounds off of me and me being in the shape that I want to be in. And that's because that's not because I'm obsessing over it. It's because I want my temple to be as healthy as it can be. And so often in church, you see when people get a little older, they're struggling so much with health. And again, it's because food is one of the only things we're allowed to do. But we can overcome that. And when we do, it's going to help all of us with whatever we're facing in life, especially if it's something that you're struggling with depression. So put on the garment of praise for that spirit of heaviness. Cry if you need to. Have some water, man. Just drink some water.
Yeah.
Eat some things that are good for you. Just, I don't know, go grab some lettuce or something and ice bath and do whatever you can. And if you need medication, there's no shame in that. But I just want to, I've said it out loud publicly because I'm hoping that by hearing that someone who's in a role where they're like, teaching the Bible in essence has struggled, that it would help you, if you've struggled, to feel like you're not alone. And so that is our encouragement to you today. Help, I'm depressed. Okay, there is a way out. You just have to sometimes take it day by day. Sometimes it's moment by moment, but God will not let you down. And He has given us many tools to be able to overcome this. So we're going to go into a time of worship now. I pray that as that happens, that if you're struggling with anything, specifically if you've been struggling with depression or feeling down, that the Spirit of God would come upon you and that you would feel peace and a total calming of every anxious thought. So let's worship together now.
How I live for the moment where I'm still in your presence. All the noise dies down. Oh Lord, speak to me now. You have all my attention. I will linger and listen. I can't miss a thing. Lord, I know my heart wants more of you. My desperate for a touch of heaven. Oh, oh, desperate for you, Lord. You're the fire in the morning. You're the cool in the evening, the breath in my soul. You're the life in my bones. There is no hesitation in your love and affection, the sweetest of all. Oh Lord, I know my heart wants more of you. My heart wants something new, so I surrender all. And all I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper. And Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. Oh, a touch from heaven. We're desperate for, yes, a touch from heaven. All we want is a touch from heaven. Heart to you. Oh, I opened up my heart to you now. So do what only you can do. Oh, Jesus, have your way in me now. I open up my heart to you. I open up my heart to you now. So do what only you can do, Lord. Jesus, have your way. Oh, have your way, Lord. I open up my heart to you. I open up my heart to you, Lord. So do what only you can do. Oh, Jesus, have your way, your way, your way, your way. Come and have your way, oh Lord. Come and have your way, oh Lord. Come and have your way in here in this place, oh Lord. Let your presence fall, Jesus. Have your way. Oh, have your way, Lord. 'Cause all I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper. And I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch from heaven.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.